argued that there is no military solution for terrorism. We have two words, Sri Lanka, right? That shows that this is the first time the terrorism is been defeated militarily and changed the entire theory of that there is no military solution to the war. Sri Lanka is beating the tigers through military force, not negotiation. And they gone, that's a huge turnaround from only 3 years ago, when the tigers effectively controlled the bulk of the northern and eastern provinces and were perpetrating suicide bombings in the country's capital, Colombo. Credit goes to the government of President Mahinda Rajapaksa, who has made eliminating the tigers a priority and invested resources to make it happen. Right? Credit goes to the government of President Mahinda Rajapaksa. Right? That is how they describe, not the forces or anything, it's the government and the president. This string of victories is a shock to those who thought this conflict, which has political origins, could have only a political solution. And they go on, we recount this history at length to make a simple point. Colombo's military strategy against Tamil terrorists has worked. Negotiations haven't. That's an important reminder as Israel faces its own terrorism problem and as the US works to foster stability and political progress in Iraq. Take note, Barack Obama. They said take a note from Mahinda Rajapaksa. They tell the Barack Obama. This is the first time actually they have asked one of their the American president to take an advice from the Sri Lankan president. Always the other way. So I mean, now this is, you know, before this war, in the entire civilization of Sri Lanka, nearly 2,600 years, the longest ever conflict was during King Parakram Bahu. So during that conflict, actually he was fighting his own aunt, Princess Sudula. That was, the war was taking place in the southern, in south, in the Ruhunu Pattu, like today the Allavellavaya area. So the battle was on, but King Parakram Bahu was not, in the war front. He was in the kingdom, but there were 3 generals were killed, 2 in the war, 1 due to diarrhea. Then the 4th general only achieved victory. That was that. So does anybody in this country know who the name of this general who won the unitary state for Sri Lanka under King Parakram Bahu? But you ask any small child who won, who made Sri Lanka a unitary state, everybody will call it is Mahaparakram Bahu. Why he was called Mahaparakram Bahu? Because he was the one who united the entire country and under one regime. So, but nobody knows who the general is. The general's name is Rakka, Dravidian, Tamil. General only won the made Sri Lanka a united country. So that is history. Now you say the Ruwanmeli Chaitya was built by Dutukemnu. He never went and did carpentry there. He never went and did masonry there, right? He never gave, he never worked as a laborer there. So, but it belongs to Dutukemnu. Now, this is a war. Not only took place in the Mullaitivu War, Punarin or Elephant Pass or Kilinochchi. This is a war the president had to fight in the entire international sphere. He had to, because the entire Europe, the America, the Japan, our neighboring country, the India, they all were advocating to stop the war, that there is no solution. You can never win the war. So, therefore, their entire appeal from the entire world was to stop the war. So, during that period, he had to rehabilitate the tsunami areas, because when he came into power, it was not even 1 year after tsunami, and nothing much done under President Kumaratunga's government. So, he had to do the entire rehabilitation, the work in the tsunami area. That not only that, then he had the world economic recession, where even Lehman Brothers went bankrupt. There was a story those days, even the world becomes bankrupt. Even until the end of the earth, Lehman Brothers will be there. That way, Lehman Brothers, was bankrupt. And I'll tell you the gravity of the world economic situation from the American, actually, the American federal budget, the deficit went up to 1 trillion US dollars, 1 trillion US dollars. And the trade deficit went up to 800 billion, you understand. And the national debt became to 10 trillion. Now there are people who are in the opposition says that we are in debt, every person in this country is in debt to the treasury so much. But you know how much one American citizen is in debt. That is, everybody has a debt value about 516,348 US dollars. Over $500,000 US dollars every citizen is in debt in the American economy. So it went to that level. So but he faced it, right? He overcame that. And in America only there were 4.7 million were unemployed, 47 lakhs. And in the entire Europe, 52 million went unemployed, right? They were sacked from their places of work. So, but in this country, how many people went unemployed? Comparatively, very, very minimal. So therefore, he had to face this recession, right? During this recession, they had no buying power, the big powers. So it affected our garments, it affected rubber, it affected tea and all our exports. The tea prices came down from 70 rupees to 20 rupees. In our area, they stopped plucking tea. They stopped and you know, there was a lot of problems. So the government gave another package to the tea smallholders, rubber smallholders, because they gave the fertilizer only for $1,000. And when they export, the government paid another 10-15 rupees to every kilo of tea, and they sustained that. So the rubber prices were earlier, it was 320 rupees a kilo. It went down to 70 rupees, right? So, but now today, everything had again come back to normal.
And to add to that, President also had to grapple with the world food crisis, right?
Yes. Then the next 2008 came the world food crisis. Until such time, all the industrial countries in the world, the developed industrial countries, they all believed that a country can be developed only by industrialization. That is what the old left also propagated those days. It was the LSSP and the Communist Party those days criticizing Dandi Senanayaka's agriculture campaign, DS Senanayaka's agriculture campaign, saying how many bushels of rice to be sold to buy one bolt or nut to the country, right? So therefore, it was industrialization. So now in 2008, the world faced a complete food crisis, right? So the food prices went up due to the the recession in the world. The fuel prices went up to $147 a barrel, but we had to import for $172 a barrel because we had to bring in the refined one, because we didn't have the second refinery. We could refine only 35% of the capacity. So with that, the fuel bill itself went from 800 million US dollars to 3.2 billion, 3,200 million. 4 times the bill was increased in this country. Still the president faced spending 20 billion rupees for the war, and 200 billion for the war, and 60 billion for fertilizer subsidy, right? He never cut any of the subsidies also. So then the food crisis came in the 2008, but the president started the food campaign here, the Apivamu Ratanagamu, the agriculture campaign in 2007 July, right? Today the